Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're heading into a really fascinating part of Southeast Asia, Myanmar. You might also know it as Burma.
And often called the Golden Land.
Exactly, the Golden Land. We're using Explore Myanmar, the Golden Land, as our guide here. And really our mission is to unpack for you what makes this country, nestled between India, China, Thailand, what makes it so unique, so compelling for a traveler.
Mm-hmm.
We want to give you that shortcut, that real understanding beyond just the usual tourist stuff.
Yeah, definitely looking past the glossy brochures today. We're aiming to dig into let's say, the essence of Myanmar, pulling out those surprising bits about its history, its culture.
And the landscapes.
And the incredible natural beauty. Absolutely. We want you to walk away with a properly informed view of the place.
Okay, so let's start with that name, the Golden Land. It's so evocative. The source clearly links it to the sheer number of golden temples, pagodas everywhere.
They seem to just shimmer across the landscape.
Oh, but it's got to be more than just like decoration, isn't it? What's the significance there, really?
Well, what's really interesting is that all that gold, it's not just for show. It actually symbolizes spiritual purity.
Ah, okay.
And it kind of represents the accumulated merit, the good deeds of generations of people who donated.
Yeah.
So this practice, it weaves that religious devotion right into the fabric of society in a way that's incredibly visible, very unique.
And that pervasive spirituality, it sounds like, it really shapes the whole travel experience, makes it different. The source talks a lot about Myanmar offering a more, quote, authentic cultural encounter, especially compared to maybe some neighbors that are more heavily touristed.
Yeah, that's a key point.
What does that authenticity actually look like or feel like if you're visiting?
Well, I think it often means, more genuine interactions with local people. You're seeing traditional ways of life that are still very much alive.
Yeah.
Centuries-old customs that aren't just being sort of performed for tourists. It's encountering a culture where these ancient traditions and daily life are just intertwined. Really tangibly.
So it's not just a few old buildings here and there?
Oh, not at all.
The source says there are literally thousands of Buddhist temples, pagodas, monasteries just scattered everywhere. The scale is almost, hard to imagine.
It really is staggering.
Yeah.
And to get a sense of it, think about a place like the Shwedagon Pagoda in Yangon.
Okay.
The source highlights its 2,500-year history, but also the profound belief, and this is key, that it actually enshrines strands of the Buddha's hair.
Wow, actual hair strands.
That's the belief, yeah. So it makes it much more than just a stunning monument. It's a central spiritual anchor point for Buddhists worldwide.
And then you've got the Golden Rock, Kik Teo Pagoda, that incredible image, the golden boulder just sort of balancing on a cliff.
Mm-hmm. Precariously perched.
The source mentions a legend about that too, right? Yep. Something about another strand of Buddha's hair holding it up.
Yes, exactly. And that legend, it just powerfully shows the deep reverence people have for these sacred sites.
It really does.
It's those layers,
Yeah.
The belief, the history, all mixed with these striking visuals. It makes these places incredibly compelling.
It kind of raises a question, doesn't it? How does seeing that kind of profound faith expressed in the landscape maybe change your own perspective on culture and belief?
That's a good point. Now, beyond the spiritual side, the source also paints this picture of amazing natural diversity. We're talking like calm lakes, highlands, even exotic beaches, big rivers. It sounds like quite a mix.
It really is. And what's fascinating, I think, is how these diverse natural settings provide this stunning backdrop, but also context for the culture and spirituality.
Right.
It's not just one type of scenery. It's this very tapestry that's definitely shaped traditions and life in different regions.
Inle Lake really jumped out at me from the source. Floating gardens, villages built on stilts.
Oh, absolutely.
And those fishermen, the leg-rowing fishermen, it sounds like stepping into another world almost. It kind of is. Inle Lake gives you this amazing glimpse into a life that's just so deeply connected to the water.
Yeah.
And these aren't just, pretty pictures. These are communities that have adapted incredibly cleverly to their environment over generations. It's a really unique angle on rural Burmese life. Very different for the cities.
And then for a total change of pace, you've got Nakali Beach. The source calls it a top spot for relaxing white sand, turquoise water. Sounds like that classic tropical dream.
Yep. And Gapali offers that chance for downtime, for recreation. It balances out the more intense cultural experiences.
So it's not all temples and tradition.
Exactly. It shows that Myanmar's appeal isn't just the ancient sites. It has that stunning coastal beauty, too.
And then there's HP An. That sounds more like for the adventurous types, limestone caves, karst mountains, a bit more off the usual track.
Yeah, HPI highlights the sheer breadth of what's on offer. It definitely caters to people looking for exploration, maybe more rugged connection with nature, away from the main tourist circuits.
Right.
It suggests Myanmar still has plenty of less discovered natural spots.
Of course, we absolutely have to talk about Bagan.
Can't miss Bagan.
The land of 1,000 temples. Although the source actually says it's over 2,000 ancient temples and pagodas remaining, that number is just huge.
It's truly an archaeological treasure chest, a site of just immense historical and cultural weight. The sheer density of these old structures, and many are remarkably well preserved. It gives you this profound link to Myanmar's past kingdoms, its artistic achievements.
And that classic image, the hot air balloon at sunrise floating over the temples.
Yes.
That sounds like one of those truly bucket list experiences.
It really is. It's an experience that perfectly blends that historical grandeur with just an absolutely breathtaking view. Floating silently over those thousands of temples as the sun comes up. It's a unique way to grasp the scale and beauty of Bagan.
Wow.
And the source also points to specific must-sees, like the Nanda Temple, Damayangi Temple, Shusanda Pagoda. Each tells its own story through its architecture.
Okay, moving on. Let's talk about Mandalay. The source calls it the cultural heart, the last royal capital. So the history there feels different somehow. More recent, maybe.
Yes. Mandalay offers a dive into Myanmar's more recent royal past, but also into the continuation of traditional crafts and religious life. It's very much a living cultural center.
Right.
Mentioning things like the Yubin Bridge, that amazing long teak bridge, and the Mahamuni Buddha Temple, it underlines that living history you find there. Ancient traditions are still thriving.
It's clearly not just about the amazing sights, though. The source also mentions the people, their warmth, their hospitality, and also that it can be, maybe surprisingly, quite an affordable place to travel.
That's such an important part of the picture, isn't it? The genuine friendliness of the Burmese people often leaves a huge impression. I bet. And yes, the affordability makes it more accessible for lots of different travelers. It really adds to that feeling of authentic cultural exchange, something beyond just being a tourist spending money.
And we can't finish without touching on the food. The source mentions mohinga, tea leaf salad, lapet thoki shan noodles. It sounds delicious and pretty unique.
Absolutely. Getting a taste of the cuisine is another essential layer for understanding the culture.
Yeah.
Food's so central everywhere, right?
For sure.
And those dishes give you a little window into the country's really diverse regional cooking styles.
Okay, so wrapping up our deep dive into Myanmar, the Golden Land, it really does sound like a remarkably distinct travel destination.
It truly does.
It's this powerful mix, isn't it? Deep spiritual roots, a culture that feels incredibly well preserved in many ways, and then this stunning range of natural beauty, from those almost unbelievable temple plains in Bagan to beautiful tropical beaches.
Exactly. It's a place that genuinely seems to offer something for almost everyone, whatever your interest. It provides an experience that goes, I think, quite a bit deeper than your standard tourist trip.
So, as you've been listening along with us, exploring Myanmar through this source, maybe take a second to think about what really stood out to you. Was it the image of those thousands of ancient temples spread across Bagan?
Or perhaps the quiet beauty and unique life on Inle Lake.
Or maybe it's the sheer visual impact of those glittering golden pagodas that give the country its famous nickname.
Yeah, think about which part, the history, the spirituality, the landscapes, the culture, which facet really sparks your curiosity the most.
It feels like this Golden Land probably holds even more layers of history, of beauty, just waiting to be discovered, well beyond what we could cover today.